Hello guys and welcome. We're going to take a look again at my old PC build. So the same graphics card and CPU. And I've decided to test a few more benchmarks and games. Unfortunately, I couldn't test some of the stuff I wanted to do. So Final Fantasy 14, even though it still works technically, I didn't want to buy the game twice, so I didn't do it. And 3D Mark Vantage, it doesn't work on this graphics card because I initially wanted to go with a Tesla C20 75 and I didn't have a good power supply, so I went with the GeForce 7950 GT. So I hope you enjoy the game footage that I recorded. So as for 7-zip, it's kind of bad to be honest, especially like compression speeds. Decompression isn't too bad. On this socket, I can upgrade this to a Core 2 Quad, but as you're about to see, that isn't going to make a huge difference for gaming anyway. Okay, here is my attempt at running Yandere Simulator. This is the very last demo as of the writing of this video, running on Unity Engine. And I had to drop down the texture quality because I wanted to run this at all, and it doesn't even run at 1 FPS. Yeah, I mean, it does run, but 1 FPS isn't what I would count to be playable, and this was on the lowest settings possible, and I had to run this at 720p. Unfortunately, there was no like 360p option or whatever. So yeah, maybe not even in Windows mode I could not reduce down the resolution. Maybe I could like force it with a ini file, but yeah, I'm not going to do that. Especially since the game can be quite CPU intensive also. But I've been told that on the Core 2 Duo, with a modern graphics card, you should be able to get at least 10 FPS, but here it does not even run at 1 FPS. To the point that even controlling the menu was impossible. I tried to like choose the left option, but I ended up selecting the right option for some random reason. So yeah, basically here I'm actually smashing my keyboard like crazy. And yeah, I press left and it's active right, whatever. And I could not even start the actual game because it would not even go past this. So I could like press like crazy and nothing would happen. So I would pretty much consider this to be unplayable. So here we have Little Witch Novella, and we're running on the lowest setting, 720p. And unlike Yandere Simulator, it does run okay. Uh, Mostly like the low teens and 20s are not okay, but it's better than 1 FPS. But there are some graphical glitches and they are quite noticeable in this game, but it's still mostly playable. So for example, when you attack, the shaders are completely wrong. The enemies also, they look kind of bad. I'm not sure if this is how they're supposed to look. I've never played this game up until now. But yeah, clearly it's not supposed to be like a black square. It's obvious. Uh, Other than that, the game is playable, I guess. But obviously, I wouldn't play this on this graphics unless I was desperate and I want to really play this game. So yeah, not a bad showing, I guess, but a bit disappointing. So here we have Crysis running on my PC, and I had to actually drop down the settings to low 720p, and despite that, it still runs poorly, especially during checkpoints, like here, for example. It drops down the frame rate down to the low teens. Not a good experience, to be honest. It ran better actually than when I was trying to play this game on an old laptop that I used to have, and that's on the laptop had like a Radeon Mobile Terascale based GPU. Here it's not Terascale, of course. It's a GeForce 7950. So it's the world's fastest DirectX 9 card, so no shaders or stuff like that. Well, technically they are shaders, but not the modern kind of shaders. And well, I wouldn't play this game like this, to be honest. If I had to, I would play it like I used to back in the day, but otherwise this isn't a good experience, especially since everything is set to low. I would actually need to drop down the resolution to make it more playable, because at 720p this does not look very good, especially on low. And yeah, here it looks like 60 FPS, but then it drops down quickly to 20 FPS. So we could actually have a CPU bottleneck, but I did not actually check this. Yeah. So here is Uni-Engine running on the GeForce 7950. And I was surprised to see that it does have a DirectX 9 graphics mode. So that's what I used. I initially thought it was only DirectX 11 support, but it does support OpenGL also. OpenGL 2, I believe, not OpenGL 1. And it runs around the low teens and low 20s. So it's not particularly a great showing for this graphics card. So if you can get this running at 60 FPS, then you should be able to run most modern Unity 3D games at smooth frame rates at least. But unfortunately, that's not going to be on a DirectX 9 graphics card. Maybe on the Radeon X 1900, but I don't have this graphics card, and there's no reason to own one, to be honest. Mostly because it doesn't work on Windows 98, unlike the GeForce graphics card here. And also, I mean, there's no point in doing that. I mean, it is well supported under Linux. That's something against it, but yeah. Other than that, not much to say really. It's a bit disappointing to be honest, but at least it runs, which counts. So here we have Shenmue Architect, and this is basically a Freedom Planet fan game, and this should run on pretty much any DirectX 9 card, and it does run fine. Yeah. I didn't check the power usage, but it was quite low. It was so low, in fact, that I could run this on my Tesla card with my power supply. So it was barely using the GPU, but it does require DirectX 9 support, unlike the original Freedom Planet game, which could run even on a toaster, even like I actually even play this on Pentium 3. Now, if you want to actually run this on a Pentium 3, you will have to basically get a decent graphics card, like a GeForce 6000 series. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty good. So I thought I should test PPSSPP, and I was really surprised to see the tank game that's on the Homebrew store running at 60 FPS on this GPU, and this is at 720p, by the way. I did have to drop down the the effect settings to medium, but otherwise it runs pretty good. I had some mid-range phones that would still struggle on this game at high resolutions, so that's actually very good to see. But unfortunately, I did test other games, and those games were CPU bound. So, do I think that you should build a similar PC? And honestly, I would tell you no. Basically, spend your money on a Steam Deck or even something similar, because the experience that you're going to get with the old PC now, It's not good. I mean, if you want to play all the games, they are not pretty good solutions. There are Wine, there's Proton, there's Steam. Uh, Honestly, I wouldn't really go back to making an old PC, especially since it's kind of bulky to make one. And building a PC like that, maybe it would be good enough for Windows XP gaming, but honestly, for most Windows XP games, either you have like a modern open source recreation, so stuff like RPG Maker XP, for example, there is a modern game engine that you can use. It's called MKXP. Or there are game patches that you can use to make the game run on modern Windows, including Windows 10 and Linux for that matter. So yeah, maybe I mean, looking back, I kind of regret even getting all of this hardware, but it was still interesting to see how it would even perform nowadays. And it was also interesting to see that this graphics card could, in theory, still run some Unity 3D engine games. But what most of the games that are going to be playable on this, they are mostly going to be 2D games. So I would pretty much forget about that. So yeah, even an old Intel Atom tablet would be more useful than this computer. Now, of course, it won't be as compatible or shit like that. But yeah, I mean, if you want to build like a PC like that, I would go with something like an Ivy Bridge, or even something older like a Pentium 3 to run DOS games and stuff like that. And unfortunately, there are still no good efforts into making a similar build, but in a much smaller form factor. I have yet to see something like that. I did see some people using like Pentium 3s and stuff like that, or even the 486, and kind of turn it into a smaller PC build. But that was mostly custom work, not something that most people can use. So anyway, thank you for watching it. Bye.